Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Want to share some awesome quotes that I think directly correlate to law of attraction from probably my favorite master of all time, I think. He's one of them anyway, as far as non-intellectual masters, because I would probably put Nikola Tesla or Einstein on that list. But Bruce Lee is one of the most amazing martial artists ever, and his discipline and mental aptitude and abilities to just kind of handle all the crazy that was going on around him and still keep his cool and calm. It's one of the most amazing things about him. So in finding one quote today, I was like, wow, that'd be fun to do a show on that. Ended up causing me to do a little research so I could, one, pull it up and read it, but two, I found some other quotes that are amazing how they tie to law of attraction. So some lessons from a master when he wasn't speaking specifically about a law of attraction, but when I read the quote and then we talk a little bit, you'll see, oh yeah, like that directly applies. So again, from a master that wasn't ever using law of attraction, here's a master using law of attraction. Check it out. First quote, which I think is really easy. For it is easy to criticize and break down the spirit of others, but to know yourself takes a lifetime. How many of us actually spend all this time noticing all the flaws other people have, all the reasons other people can't manifest? Well, the reason you can't manifest is because you've put blocks and obstacles and your beliefs are in the way. Wow, yeah, it's super easy to see the flaws in others. But when it really comes to that time to kind of look at ourselves and figure out, why am I having such a hard time with this? Why do I keep having fear thoughts pop up into my world? Why can't I seem to overcome this? And when we finally take a moment and start to really look at what's going on inside of us, we start to notice all those places where us pushed out is happening, where because of some belief I've got in myself or some belief that this person's cheating on me, now every time I see an image of them and anyone, I instantly assume that's who they're cheating on, and then I verify it through any number of other erroneous sources. So a lot of those things start to come at us where we want to criticize others, but a lot of us don't like looking in the mirror. We don't like to take the time to do the self-love, right? To try to figure out what it is that I really, really love and what's going to make a difference in my life, my success, and what I'm trying to manifest, right? What am I holding back because of my issues with self-love or my us pushed out concepts? And another way that we can kind of get better with this too, I think, as far as dealing with some of the mind chatter, is meditation and just trying to find that place where you can be at peace for a few moments, where you can breathe in and breathe out, try to silence the mind as much as you can, try to let stuff just flow through you. Don't hold on to anything. You know, I got to go to the store, I got to pick up the kids, I got to buy that thing for my husband, I got to just let the thoughts just flow through. Don't grab onto, oh, what am I going to buy him? No, don't do that. I got to buy him. Just let it flow through. All right, that's fine. Whatever. Just keep breathing. Let thoughts flow in and out. And you will find that you will get better at knowing yourself, which, as Bruce Lee said, can take a lifetime. Another great quote that I thought was amazing. Knowing is not enough. We must apply. Willing is not enough. We must do. What I like about this, you guys know I've done many shows on action, and I, without a doubt, think action's important. I was just doing a coaching session with a buddy of mine this weekend, and action came up, and it was, in his case, it was a huge part of why his success happened is because he acted when the time was right, and it worked out beautifully. And on top of that, he also followed his feelings, and it led him to some very interesting choices, which I think directly impacted how his significant other responded. And it was very, very cool. But these techniques where knowing is not enough. And what that means to me is wisdom is when we apply knowledge. So knowing is not enough, we must apply, which means it's not enough to just learn from mistakes, but it is to take those lessons and apply them so we don't make those mistakes again. That's wisdom. That is what wise people do. And what a lot of us do in our manifestations when we make mistakes along the way is we don't really stop to learn from them. We keep doing the same behavior that doesn't work. And then we get mad that it's not working. It's like, well, it's not working. And you've got no indications that suggest this is working. Take what's happening, tweak what you're doing, and then try it again. Apply that knowledge. And willing is not enough. And I agree. I know a lot of people will fight me on this, but when it comes to manifesting, just having the will to have something occur is not enough. There will be a point when you need to act. Maybe it's reaching out, shaking their hands and saying something. Maybe it's just nodding and smiling. something will need to happen in order for you to kind of reciprocate this deal, to handshake the energy between you two. As I've frequently talked about, I see it as two bodies coming close together, and then it takes a little bit of an interaction to keep them in orbit around each other. Like law of attraction and willing and all that stuff will get you really close. But then there's a moment where you should and need to typically have some sort of action to help seal the deal. So having that part come in there is really when you are truly manifesting as a master. So you're learning from your mistakes and applying it. And then when the time comes and you've manifested closeness to the thing that you desire, acting and being a part of this moment and taking that as yours through some form of action. Again, saying hi, talking, conversation, shaking someone's hand, looking at them and smiling. That's all action. All those things are action. Trying to manifest somebody coming close to you and they walk in the room and you just look down, that's not action. That's your fault. You manifested them close. You need to act. I don't care what anyone else says. Act. Try it at least. Prove me wrong. I look forward to that. But you may manifest it exactly. It may fall on your lap. They may trip and fall and stumble and land on you and you'll catch them. That stuff happens. In fact, it just happened to my buddy too. But he still had to act and catch her. When the waitress fell and slipped and caught her, that was the action that was needed. And then it tied a whole bunch of other stuff together. Action, trust me. Maybe you're already acting and you don't realize it. But for those of us that are like, no, it needs to come specifically to me, I would say open up your mind a little more on when the opportunity arises. Act, and you will be amazed at the things that start to happen. I've had more doors open up because of just small little bits of action than staying quiet and waiting for things to come to me. It doesn't work for me anyway. I'm trying to share what I know and what I've seen work. and I've certainly read a lot of stuff, and action has been a big part of just about everything I read. I know there's a few people that say otherwise. When I read that, I'm like, I don't think you're right. And I'll tell you that right now. So there you go. Number 3, I love this. Use only that which works and take it from any place you can find it. How many of us are asking about techniques? What's the right technique? Here's Bruce Lee talking about it. Use only that which works. Meaning, if you've got a technique and it doesn't work and you keep doing that technique, that's a silly idea. It's a very silly idea, right? If you've got a technique that does work and it doesn't work for anybody else, do you stop using it because it doesn't work for others? Or do you use that which works, as Bruce Lee would suggest? Because all that matters is that it works, that it accomplishes what you're out to make happen in your life. So if you found a technique that gets you from A to B, use it, run with it. It works for your mindset. It works for how you are. If it doesn't work, try another. And if that doesn't work, try another. And I don't just mean that your SP suddenly comes walking in the door. I mean, you feel better about it. You're getting through the day without as much mind chatter. You're finding that you're generally staying in a more overall kind of positive sort of mood. Like you're not getting ruffled about a bunch of stuff. That's probably a technique that's working for you. If you find you keep doing this technique and just doing this technique, and I'm not noticing anything happening, and I don't necessarily feel any better, but I keep doing it anyway because someone told me I'm supposed to, stop. Stop immediately. Take a break even from any techniques and start to think about what is it that I really want? What is it that I want to accomplish? And then try another technique. Try something different. You know, it's funny, Einstein, they equate it to him. No one really knows for sure who said it. But you doing the same thing over and over in the hopes of a different outcome is insanity. If I keep doing the same thing over and over, and it keeps doing the same thing, but I keep going, no, I'm going to do it one more time because I want something different to happen. It's like gambling, right? Keep losing money, but this one's going to hit, this one's going to hit, this one's going to hit, $42 later, this one's going to hit. Yeah, no. Stop trying the same thing over and over. It's crazy. Try something different. Switch it up a little. You'll be amazed. And it really just comes down to success. Who cares what anyone calls it? Who cares what anyone believes? If you believe it and it works for you, done. No need for any more than that. All right. One of the best, and this is actually the quote that got me looking everything up. And this is the one that I think is probably the most important and the one to keep in mind for third parties and things like that. Because so many of us, when there's a third party involved, we go, oh no, what do I do now? There's a third party. Oh no. I want you to take this quote to heart because it's the way you look at the third party. And I see stuff like this too, and I've talked a lot about it. Third parties can accomplish a lot of things. One, yes, we sometimes manifest them because of fear and insecurity. Need to work through that. And this quote, I think, still applies. And two, sometimes a third party actually helps bring the other people closer together because that third party is so crazy or so different or so it helps them identify what matters and doesn't matter. Like a lot of context can come from another perspective, another person. So it's not always what people see it as. And that's also what this quote's talking about. So let's try the quote. See what you think. I don't know. I'm curious, but I love this. I love this guy, first off. But this is what got the whole show started. When you find yourself in a room surrounded by your enemies, you should tell yourself, I am not locked in here with you. You are locked in here with me. This is the kind of mindset you should have if you want to succeed in life. Get rid of that victim mentality. How many of us have that victim mentality? How many of us look at that thing and blame it? No. That thing is here for you to pass through, to accomplish, to win. That's why that contrast is before you. Either A, to get around it, B, to not care anymore, C, realize that's not what I want. I'm going to think of this stuff over here instead. B, accept the fact that I am in this situation for a reason, and I'm here to change this. I'm here to affect it. If I've manifested something in my life that's not working for me, then I need to look back at what I was thinking about yesterday and the day before and go, when? When was I thinking about this? When did fear pop up into my head that made this thought something that I started to focus on? It's one thing to have a thought for a minute. It's another thing to have a thought and then emotionally connect with it, start having that conversation in your head, get even worked up about the argument that you just made up inside your mind. That whole set of energy and circumstances that start to happen when we do that is very damaging. Seeing contrast for what it is, contrast, I'm going to move forward, I'm going to move past this, done. Realizing when you're in a room full of your enemies, a room full of stuff that's not what you wanted. It's not that, oh no, I've got all this crap here. It's, all right, I am here to change this. I'm here to walk out of this room and walk towards the goals that I have before me. Not accept this room, if you will. I mean, it's sort of loosey-goosey stretching that out, but I mean, to his point, if you walk into a place where there's competition, don't be like, oh my God, look at all this competition. Go, these people all have to compete with me. Bummer for them. It's a very different mindset when you acknowledge the magic that you are in any situation. There's a third party. I don't know. Are you the best choice? I'd like to think so. Aren't you? Instead of seeing them as a threat, they need to see you as the threat. It's a different way to look at it. Anyway, that's the quote that got everything started. Love it. And I think it's powerful. Say it one more time. When you find yourself in a room surrounded by your enemies, you should tell yourself, I am not locked in here with you. You are locked in here with me. This is the kind of mindset you should have if you want to succeed in life. Get rid of that victim mentality. Oh, woe is me. No, get rid of that nonsense. All right, last and not least. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. This is a very, very cool quote. So this is really about kind of a good way to live life in general, handling problems that pop up, kind of handling the realities that become our norms, okay? And looking at how to take difficult circumstances and work through them, find solutions through them. So just very Yoda-esque sounding in this quote, and it's Bruce Lee at his finest, but it's a beautiful quote. So let me share it with you here. Be like water making its way through the cracks. Do not be assertive, but adjust to the object, and you shall find a way around or through it. If nothing within you stays rigid, outward things will disclose themselves. Empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless like water. If you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, and it becomes the bottle. You put in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now, water can flow, or it can crash. Be water, my friend. Water can flow or it can crash, right? Like, it's powerful. You dive into water traveling fast, it can hurt. Water can seep through cracks and find a way into the ground. Water can carve mountains. You've got something in your way, water can work through it or around it. Be the water in our lives. When the things happen in our lives that seem to block us with rigidity, someone's doing something we don't like, someone's behaving in a certain way we don't like, some sort of situation occurred we're not happy about, instead of seeing it and being rigid, look at it and go, all right, this is happening. There's a way around it. There's a way through it. There's a way over it. But there's a way. There's always a way. A lot of times, blocks are put in front of us. Some would call it a test. I don't like looking at it as that because it kind of gives it gives it a feeling like there's this other thing outside of myself that's like, all right, we're going to see how you handle this. I don't see higher self and universe like that. What I see it as is there are levels in life, like steps. And what's funny is when we go from one step to the next, there's usually some sort of obstacle or some sort of thing that we overcome to kind of reach that next plateau. Be it it's a higher form of energy, we've gotten around some sort of thing, we got a new job, we got away from that boss, now we're making more money. Like, something happened, some sort of freedom has almost occurred, if you will. Some sort of expansion has happened. So it's not that you're being tested, it's that you're going to have these expansion moments to reach the next plateau. And a lot of these expansion moments are challenges or struggles or difficulty. When we look at these struggles or difficulty as what they are, an obstacle, and realize that there's always a way around or past or through an obstacle. Always. Always. It wouldn't be there if there wasn't a way. Trust me, nothing is in your path that is impossible except you. We are the ones that decide something's too hard. We are the ones that decide that mountain is too high. I can't possibly climb it. It's touching the sky, for Christ's sake. No one can climb that high. Is that a limitation we're putting on ourselves? Think of it. If we can be more like water, water will get around it, we'll get through it, we'll get under it. Something. Great example of the power of water in a sort of foundational way, no pun intended. But in a house, you get a slab leak. You get water leaking underneath your driveway or your garage, for example. It starts to actually eat away at stuff. It starts to cause pressure and bulking. It starts to cause damage. A little bit of water leakage will cause damage. Especially if you've got nasty water like we do here. This is very high in mineral content. So then on top of damage, you get stains and rust and all sorts of other wonderful things that start to happen. If we can be more like the water in our lives, and if we can follow a few of these beautiful teachings that this brilliant man who died way too soon shared with us, if we can look at life with a little bit more of a childlike way, instead of seeing things as blocks, children don't do that. They see it as something. Mommy said no. It's all right. I'll ask her again in 5 minutes. That's not something that's going to stop me. No doesn't mean no to a child. No just means, all right, ask again later, or just beg them until they say yes. Let's be a little more childlike in our approach towards life. Let's realize that some of these obstacles that we freak out about aren't legitimate. Let's learn from the mistakes we've made. Let's apply that knowledge and let's move forward in our lives. Let's realize that the technique that's best is the one that works best for you. Your best technique may not be the best technique for anybody else. Doesn't matter. If it's your best technique, it's the best technique. The best technique is the one that's best for you. Like, that's huge. Hopefully this helps. Hopefully this makes a difference. This is stuff I love, man. I'm sorry, I had to do a show, and it's Bruce Lee. He's a brilliant man. So from a master to a master, such a brilliant man. And I love Bruce Lee with every ounce of my being. He's a great man. He was a very great man and played a huge role in my evolution as a young man, for sure, and certainly played a large part into who I became. So if any of you guys kind of like who I am, Bruce Lee's a part of that, believe it or not. Love you guys. Thanks so much. Share, comment, like, all that good stuff. It makes a huge difference for success on the channel. So if you want to help my channel, those are the best ways to do it. Especially sharing. That seems to be a really popular thing these days. So whatever works for you. I love you guys. I appreciate each and every one of you. It's Dan Radio Style.